Okay.
Test, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Good. Welcome back. This is Transfiguration in Oakdale, and Transfiguration exists here in Oakdale to bring all those in the East Metro to Christ, the source and summit of our daily and eternal lives. And we tried to do that this last week at the staff, at our regular staff meeting. We went out to our neighbors and knocked on their doors.
Yeah.
And sold them encyclopedias.
Yeah.
No. We tried to talk to them about Transfiguration and Jesus Christ, and there was some success, and there was some people not home. So I just wanted to bring in Father Lynch this week to talk to him about his experience with that and his general experience with it in Landfall as well. Father's been knocking on doors in Landfall. Is that how you say it? Landfall?
Yeah.
Landfall. I think I accidentally called it something else.
Oh, that's okay.
Landfill.
No.
I know. I felt bad. I didn't.
Thanks.
It was an accident. Okay. But also, Father Lynch has had a birthday this week, so happy birthday. I just wanted to. I'm not a big happy birthday sing that song person. I don't like that. But I would like to publicly honor Father Lynch, and I just want to say thank you for saying yes to the priesthood. And I think there's some I don't know what word it is, but we're both like former scientists.
Yes.
And I was in the seminary for a little while, and I quit. I gave up. I got Father Lynch said yes and continued to say yes. I said yes, and then I left and got married. But I also just want to say thank you for your presence here at Transfiguration. You are joyful. I love your joy.
Oh, good.
And the way you express your joy. I like having, non-Scandinavians in the house. It's fun. It's exciting.
Oh, good.
So I'm very thankful that you're here at Transfiguration in particular, and that I've been able to get to know you a little bit better and experience your joy for Christ and bringing other people to Christ. And also I think your virtue of hard work. I think you really care. You really care about doing good and doing the right thing. I see that most especially in like the RCIA stuff.
Oh. That
you really actually care about doing it well and doing it good. That's good English. But you're doing the extra work. You're not just like, well, I've done this for 15 years, so I can just like open up the catechism and talk to people about it. You're actually continuing to put in some work and brainstorming what could be a good way to connect with people.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful that you're here and doing that, and I wanted to honor you for the hard work that you're putting in and the joy that you have for the gospel. So happy birthday. We love you. We won't say how old you are, but it was nice to hear your mom say yesterday. So a little insight. We had some tiramisu. Sue Hilo made some tiramisu, and then Father Lynch, I think it's a tradition now. It's like 2 years in a row.
We did it 2 years in a row.
He called his mom during our meeting or during our, snack time, and his mom said it was the happiest day of her life when she gave birth to Father Lynch. It was wonderful to hear.
Yeah,
it was great.
It's very sweet. Well, thank you. Those are really kind words, and I'm happy to be here. I think that I have some luxuries here of I've been ordained for 15 years, and I'm not the pastor, so I experience, I think, a freedom that allows some of my emotions to be on display. Hopefully they're mostly positive and good. Once in a while, that we also see when I get upset at times, and it's nice, and I think in a lot of ways I'm comfortable here. I'm comfortable in a lot of different ways, and so that helps me to be I guess real, and so hopefully that helpful for people. And yeah, I'm very fortunate. I've had a combination of experiences that I think made me an independent, hardworking student, and that seems to continue to carry on as an adult. And so I'm glad that I'm in a position where that is helpful and useful. Hopefully, other people will benefit from that too. So yeah, thanks.
And hopefully being surrounded by too many Scandinavians doesn't put a wet blanket on your exuberance.
Yeah. I think that is interesting. It's I had a conversation with somebody really recently about being different, and I think there's I'm not. I'm not wildly different than most Minnesotans, but certainly there are some differences that I'm aware of, and I think sometimes you question yourselves when you're different than the conventional norms. Mm-hmm. And yeah, hopefully maybe because I do pray, and so hopefully that helps. I think that I get hopefully the affirmations that I need in prayer to be confident. Keep going the course.
Not have to seek them in other people.
Yeah, not necessarily to need to conform, I guess, mm-hmm. to the way, I'm sort of speculating now, but that is significant for all of us, I think, if we're going to live what God is calling us to be, then we need to be checking in with Jesus and saying, this is what I'm doing, is that, and just experience that, yeah, he's good. He's good with me, and get that affirmation to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. It's like the Fear of the Lord podcast we did. You should care a little bit. You should care almost infinitely more about what God thinks than what other people think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, some of that, luxury comes with we've had the extreme, and it's already revealing itself to me to be a sort of a minefield, because we know like octogenarians who have the reputation for saying crazy things because they don't care anymore. Like they've lived their life, and there's no they're not worried about, they've outlived all their friends, and they just don't have anything at stake anymore. Sure. Their bed is made, so to speak, and so they experience a freedom that hopefully they use for good. St. Paul talks about that. We use our freedom for good. So I think at a certain age and maturity, and hopefully spiritual maturity, it doesn't really matter so much what other people think, as long as you think that you're doing what God wants you to do. And yeah.
Good. Well, we want to talk about going out to make disciples of all the nations, right?
Yeah,
that's the commission we've been given. So
yeah, and this is on point, I think, right? If it's to be going to doors, to be inviting people to worship is not going with the current, right? The culture says that your relationship, well, I wouldn't even be saying words like that. It's God is not a priority for the culture, and I'm sort of convinced that that there is a real move towards eliminating God from the culture, and so to be going to people's doors and talking to them about a community gathered around Jesus, that's countercultural. So you certainly you're not gonna be probably doing it very well or very often if you're not convicted that that's what Jesus has asked of us, and the truth is that's what we believe that Jesus has asked of us, to make disciples of all nations, all peoples.
Yeah, I always come back to the Penn Jillette comment he makes. He's an atheist, the magician guy, Penn and Teller, you know. So Penn Jillette is a atheist, but he has a lot of respect for Christians that proselytize.
Oh, sure.
And he says, if you're not, you're a horrible friend of mine.
Yeah.
If you're my friend and you're a Christian and you think I'm going to burn in hell for all eternity,
yeah,
you're a horrible person for not telling me about this Jesus guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you're right. You have to be convinced and convicted that, for one, this is the truth, and that Jesus has come to save us from our sins and to open up the gates of heaven, and that he also asks us to do that. He's not walking around right now knocking on doors, so we have to do that.
Yes.
So part of the podcast is definitely the podcast today is not to pat ourselves on the back, because I don't even know if we had any success, but also to kind of tell you what we did and how our experience of it, but also to be able to empower you as a listener to say, like, it's not that hard, you know, and you probably have to get over some fears potentially that you might have, and to identify those and to move past them, but also to ask yourself a pretty serious question. Do I really believe this is what Jesus is asking us to do? And here at Transfiguration, we obviously do. We put it on our wall, for goodness sakes, that we're here to bring Christ to the whole East Metro. So what we did is we broke up into groups of 2, and it was a little bit about, you know, who was comfortable talking with people or not, and then you could kind of pair up with someone that might be a little more comfortable talking if you're not comfortable talking. But we went out 2 by 2. We brought some materials from the church, you know, like a little letter from Father Erickson, a bulletin, a free, you know, those little tote bags that you can bring that we've been bringing to our neighbors after Donut Sunday. And we also had a book in tote in case they were interested and they had some questions, and maybe some follow-up was a potential. You know, it's Why Are We Catholic by Trent Horn. Really great book to bring out to people or to hand out. And we just simply knocked on their door and said, hey, we're from Transfiguration. We'd like to get to know our neighbors. And, you know, do you have any questions? We'd like to invite you to come to worship our God to worship God with us and to give him thanks for everything he's done. So I just wanted to get your feedback from that, Father. I have some feedback and criticisms of my own knocking on doors, stuff I wish I would have said or did better or whatever else. So what are your initial reactions to, how did it go for you? What was kind of the response, or how did you feel afterwards? Or maybe we don't care about your feelings, but how did you think it went, or what are things you could maybe improve on next time?
Yeah, I think it was a great exercise for our staff, especially as people who are encouraging folks to evangelize. I think it's crucial that we are doing it. It certainly makes the message more convincing if the staff is doing it. So yeah, and I think that the 2 by 2 is really solid. I think that is a significant principle. The Lord sent them out 2 by 2, and that is a desirable to not be alone, but to have somebody else along. I had suggested, and we did. It worked out perfectly that we have both a a man and a woman in each group. I think that's prudent to for a number of reasons, to have both a man and a woman in the team. And we were sort of assigned to 10 particular homes, and only 2 answered the door, which was kind of what we were expecting. And the 2 that answered, in the case of the other 8, we left materials on there hanging from their door. In the case of the 2 that answered, they were pleasant. The one seems to be I put more polite than interested, but very, very polite, and a nice enough interaction. Then the second expressed a little more interest and seemed to be sort of sympathetic, and he said that he would come. So, I can't keep track of everyone. Don't know if that has happened, but I certainly hope that it will, or that at the very least that. Yeah, these are really difficult to measure. Maybe when the occasion does come, when he feels inspired or a need or a desire, that this will be the obvious place for him to go because we invited him, right? So at least it's familiar, and so I think that's really significant. I think too, and I take a certain delight in this, and hopefully it's virtuous, but I can even now just imagine somebody talking, one of the relatively few statistically number of people that we interacted with, talking to a friend and saying, hey, the folks from Transfiguration were at my door, and then people having conversations about that. I mean, that's sort of a desirable perception, regardless of how a person receives it. That's a desirable perception for people to have in the community, that your faith community is so alive, so to speak, and so not with the culture and so sort of countercultural that they're going, that they're out and they're trying to get the good news out. So I think it's hard to I think there's a lot of consequences that we can't know that are good, and then, but even perhaps more significantly, we're not the quote that I understand to be attributed to Mother Teresa's, we're not called to be successful, we're called to be faithful. And this is what we believe that Jesus is asking of us. So because Jesus is asking it of us, we do it, regardless of how it's accepted or received. I mean, certainly you want to make it as you want to present it in a way that's helpful, potentially, but the success is not the point as much as the being faithful part.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because that was one of my kind of hesitancies, is thinking that maybe, sometimes I'm, play the devil's advocate in my head to try to think of, okay, well, what are they thinking? Maybe, the best and the worst options. And one of them was like, well, wow, this church must be really having a tough time if they're going out to the neighborhood. Like, oh, is their church empty, or what's going, that could have been a thought, I guess. I wish I would have been a little more. We had I think we talked to 5 of them. 5 out of the 10 answered their door.
Oh.
And I think I wish I would have been a little more, maybe evangelical with them. Not in the whatever connotations you might have. I mean in the root of the word. Like, I wish I would have shared the good news a little bit more. I guess
Sure.
I kind of was in my head at least just saying like, okay, this is just kind of maybe an initial, reach out like, hey, we're just over there. We're really your neighbors, and we're coming out to say hi and to get to know you a little bit and invite you in to worship with us. And I wish I would have had maybe some type of, elevator pitch of, the kerygma or something saying, we as a Catholic Church believe, have some like quick little 2-sentence, here's what we believe, and here's how we care for you, and here's how maybe Jesus can save your life or change your life. I guess I encounter so much skepticism these days that it sometimes feels like you're selling encyclopedias. Like, okay, especially in 2021, and selling encyclopedias is the silliest thing ever. They're looking at you like, well, I can get this on my computer, on my phone, for goodness sakes. While I'm driving, I can look this up. Why do I need you? And there was, people were polite, and some of them took the information. One of them was said they come to Transfiguration, and a couple of them seemed like, one of them did look through the information and was like, no thanks. I thought maybe we got to put like a Snickers bar in there or something, or some free stuff, some swag in there, so that they can maybe find some value in that. But I think one of the things that you said is true, and I hope that it's true, is at least they see a faith community that hopefully they see actually cares. Yeah. Like, we actually care about talking to people about Jesus, and at least they think, even if they're incredibly skeptical, they still have to think that, wow, those people actually believe that stuff. I hope. They probably wouldn't just come to my door for, like, we didn't come for fundraising. We didn't come to ask for money.
No.
It wasn't like a marathon pitch, like, hey, we'd ask for $20, or we weren't selling anything. We weren't. No. We're really just saying, hey, we're really your neighbors. We went right behind the fire station, for goodness sakes. It's like walking distance. Yeah. So we're really your neighbors. You can walk to our church pretty much, and we'd like to see you. Like, we actually believe that this is true, and we'd like to see you. I wish, one of the people that answered said they were a-religious, and I in my head, while she was saying it, it seemed like she was saying, I don't believe in organized religion. Sure. But I looked up a-religious later, and there's really no meaning of a-religion. I guess that was just my assumption. I wish I would have asked her further. Yeah. Like, hey, what do you mean by that? Yeah. And is there a reason why you don't like religion? And, maybe, I think most of the time people have conceptions of what organized religion is. And it's, it's like the Fulton Sheen quote, there's a million people that don't like what they think the Catholic Church is, but there's not a single one that doesn't like what it really is. I'm totally butchered that comment, but it's basically like, we have conceptions of what organized religion is, and we get it from a variety of different places, that conception, and wherever it is. But that's, hopefully that's not what the Catholic Church is. We actually care about people. We're not caring about, building up gigantic multi-million-dollar buildings. We do have those buildings, but they're there to give praise and worship to God, for goodness sakes. We're not praising like some earthly entity. That would be weird to build $1 million buildings for that. But we're building these for our Creator, because we want to give Him right worship. Yeah. So I think I wish for myself at least, and this is probably the case almost any time I talk to people, I wish I'd be a little bit more bold and just asking questions, what do you mean by a-religious? Yep. Is there what do you mean? And if she said, well, I don't like organized religion, is there a reason? And then if she says no, or get off my step, sure, we'll walk away. Yeah. But I think I wish I would have, talk to people a little bit more about Jesus. We kind of just like
Sure.
introduced Transfiguration, and we're a Catholic church. And,
Sure. Yeah, I think the principle of asking questions is really solid. I think you certainly you don't want to ask yes and no questions, right?
Yeah.
You want to formulate your questions so that they can answer with a sentence at least, not just a one-word answer, and that maybe ask questions that don't fall into the realm of right and wrong, so that their answer is it's simply their answer. So maybe questions about their experience of religion or Jesus or church or. So yeah, I think that the asking people questions as opposed to like just telling them this is the deal. I don't know. A lot of people, I'm thinking, wouldn't be as receptive maybe to that as they might be willing to answer questions about their own experience or So I think we certainly. We do it and we learn and we can make modifications but we don't want to make the perfect the enemy of the good. We don't want to not do it because, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this perfectly. So I'm just gonna stay in my cubicle and think about the perfect way to do it, and that because that day just won't come.
Yeah. One thing I was very happy with, and I think was probably the most talked about the next day. So the next day we had lunch together, and it was kind of like a debriefing. How did it go? And people were most excited about. We did ask if there was anything we could pray for, and there were some people like actually Martha and I went out. No one wanted any prayers. Everyone was good. They're all good.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good. Thanks. Even the Catholic family was like, no, we're good. Yeah. But other people did. Other people did have, people that said, they were kind of polite, but they either did or didn't take the materials. But then when we asked, is there anything we could pray for you about? Some of the people kind of just stopped, and some people got emotional a little bit and asked for pretty serious prayer requests, and about their own family that was bothering them, or stuff that was happening in their life. And I think that was also a really good thing I'm very pleased about, is saying not only hey, we're here in this neighborhood, we actually care about you, but we want to pray for you too. Like, you're our neighbor, and I want to care about my neighbor in a way that we believe is beneficial, and that's keeping each other in prayers. And we've since prayed for those people and prayed for their requests. And I think that was one of the nicer things about people that were nervous about going, that people responded when we asked them if there's anything you could pray for. I don't know if you had any responses to yours. I'm not remembering having received any response. Again, we only had the two, and of the two, I think only the one would have even been receptive, and I don't remember a request from him. I think, that's again, there's that's a question, right? Is there something that I can pray about for you? And so that, I think it's good that it's a question, but again, people are free. We may even catch them on a bad day, So that's some of the. Some people just are. We're catching them at a bad time, a bad day. I think somebody said they answered the door, and the person's like doing primitive sign language, trying to communicate. I can't talk to you. Because she was on like a Zoom meeting or something.
Yeah. So I mean, you simply, So some people will, it's a mystery, right? When we reach out to people, they may also be in a good spot, a place where they do want to share, I think we do it because it is an authentic expression of Christian love. This is really Christian love. A lot of stuff that goes around as and is called love is something very much other than love. But this is really solidly in the Christian understanding of love, inviting others to know Jesus and praying for them.
Yeah, and we really do care. I I really care about the people that live around here.
Yeah,
for their soul. And it's not in like a. Sometimes it easily comes off as like a judgmental thing, like, oh, well, I really care about you because I think you're going to hell. No, but I really care about you because you're my brothers and sisters, and Jesus has asked me to walk with you in a way, and I'm here in Oakdale for a reason. I don't live in St. Michael, Albertville anymore.
Sure.
Jesus is not asking me to talk with those people anymore, as other than my friends or whatever. He's asking me. I'm living here, and he's asking me to befriend these people and to actually care about them. As Saint Thomas says, his definition of love is to will the good of the other, and to will their good is to try to help them get to heaven and to accept Jesus and to give their life for him and be baptized and to sacrifice their life for other people.
Yeah. I tack on for my own working definition. I take St. Thomas, but I stole this from somebody else, but I tack on at cost to self, basically.
Yeah,
which acknowledges, I think, as I've tried to understand, as human beings, we are our resources are limited. We have only limited time, energy, money, and so when we're going to be asked to sort of spend those on people that we love, and it's going to cost. We're not going to have that time and energy or money to give towards ourselves in particular, I suppose. Or so, yeah. It is solidly in the realm of Christian love to be doing the evangelization like this.
Yeah. So for those of you who are listening, who are inspired by this, we encourage you to do that, and we can also help you out. You don't have to just go out on your own and do this. We can set you up with some swag bags. We can give you kind of a little bit of tools to do this, but also we're doing it already with our Donut Sundays. We're asking people to grab those bags of donuts and go to your neighbors, maybe go to a different neighbor each week, and to tell them that, Transfiguration is here. This is our church that we go to. Maybe we can even carpool next time. I can bring you to church. I know I brought my neighbor to the young adult thing last time.
Nice.
So, he's my neighbor. I just said, hey, I'm at the end of your driveway. Let's go. We talked about it because we were, cutting wood, in between our houses. And also to ask them if there's something you can pray for them about. And I think, we continue to make these touch points, and people will hopefully have a different view of what the Catholic Church is, and this Transfiguration Church is, well, they're kind of interesting. And like you said, maybe it'll start a conversation with another neighbor.
Yeah.
But also we want to start doing more of these door-to-door ministry. I know we don't have like an official plan right now of when we're going out these weekends or we're going out those weekends. But we want to start doing that. So please get in contact with us if you're interested, and we can give you some of those tools, and then we can go out together as well. So we're kind of working with St. Paul Street Evangelization. Oh. Yeah, and the style that they're doing, and they don't particularly go door to door. They're usually just at like a park or something and asking for prayers.
Yep.
And offering prayers or answering questions or whatever people are kind of interested in. It's a very passive kind of evangelization, but we want to do some more active evangelization, going door to door, especially to our neighborhood right around the church here, but then expanding out a little bit. And again, this is because we care. It's not just because we want to put butts in the seat. I could care less about butts in the seat. Obviously, sometimes it's a sign that people care, but we want to show our neighbors that Jesus Christ is real. He is risen from the dead, and we can have life in him, and the Catholic Church is the way to that life. And we want to invite as many as we can. And if you're interested in doing this, please get in contact with myself or Father Lynch, and we can help you do that. Now, we can go out with you, or we can set some type of monthly door-to-door ministry. We'd love to do that, but we need other people. Father and I can't just go out every single weekend and knock on doors. That we can start with that, but we want tons of other people to do it. And like you said earlier, people that are convinced that this really matters, and that the Lord is asking us to do this.
And to be fair, to take on some of the burden, we at Transfiguration do need to be providing events that we talk about, the shallow entry events.
Yeah.
We need to be working probably almost certainly more intentionally on finding ways to allow parishioners to invite people to events that are perhaps more familiar than Mass. Mass can be a lot for somebody who's not familiar with Mass.
Yeah, my neighbor said he needs the calisthenic instructions
to
go to Mass.
Yeah. So to be working on events where people can get a taste, I guess, or get some level of comfort with the community, so that so when it is the right time for them to go to church, to worship, for maybe it's Christmas, maybe they get inspired, they say, I'm ready to be religious. It's Christmas. I love Jesus. Where am I going to go? Well, they've been to Transfiguration for whatever, and they were at the door, and so I guess that's maybe we'll go there.
Yeah, I play bingo there. That place looks cool. I met that Father Lynch guy. He's funny. I should go to church there.
Yeah, who knows? It's not. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's not like the good old days when you just put up the sign. Every old-fashioned church just had the sign with the Mass times posted on it, and people came. But that's just not the way it is anymore. So we have to do some of this work in the soil, pulling the weeds, pruning it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work.
And if you've been doing some of that hard work with other people, and you found that they are interested in becoming Catholic, Father Lynch has RCIA classes every Thursday evening, or most Thursday evenings, I think, other than holidays.
Most Thursdays.
So most Thursdays at 7 p.m., and this is an opportunity. This is something you can invite them to, and you can actually bring them to. You can pick them up, say, hey, there's this class about learning more about the Catholic Church, and you don't have to get baptized the first night. Of course, you can just come and see and learn more about the faith. And hey, I'll go with you. I'll go with you the first 5 times or something. Maybe you can end up being their sponsor.
Sure.
And you can go with them. This is something I went through with one of my best friends from high school. He became Catholic when we were like 20 years old or something. And it's an easy way to do this as well. If you've been having those conversations with someone who is not Catholic and they've shown some interest, this is a great thing to invite them to. Like, hey, just come and see. Yeah. Come to the first couple. I'll take you. I'll go with you. We can have a drink afterwards and talk about it and see how it goes.
Yeah, it certainly would be less pressure than Mass, I would think.
Sure.
Because it's sort of. Yeah, it's just a little less formal than Mass. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else we should talk about today before you? I know you're busy. You're a busy guy today, so I don't want to take up any more of your time.
Yeah, I think we covered evangelization, which is really significant work, and yeah, let's keep keep working at it. Let's do something, and even if it's not perfect, and we're just going to keep learning as we try, and hopefully God blesses that.
Yeah, this is a Jesus Friday, so you have a Jesus Friday blessing for us, Father?
Sure. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
And through the intercession of our pastor's favorite saint, Saint Dismas, on this Jesus Friday, and when Dismas accepted that beautiful invitation to be a friend of the Lord in his most difficult time of need, when all his friends most all of his friends had abandoned him. Through the intercession of Saint Dismas, may Almighty God bless you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Amen.
Thanks again, Father Lynch. See you next week.
Bye.